Welcome back to another episode of the Picture Fit podcast. Again, the podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. So if you like it, please subscribe. Oh, we just reached 50 subscribers. I was so excited. And I know, I don't know who else would be excited about that except for me, but thank y'all. Oh, and we have this 50 on YouTube. Sorry, I know this goes on to Spotify too. 50 on YouTube. And we have a few on Spotify. I can't remember how many. I think it's like 3 or 4. I'm so excited that people are also listening to on Spotify. Today's topic, we're talking about your failures are teaching you. It's a very difficult thing to be misunderstood. But then when you're out here and you're putting yourself out here making videos, or you're putting yourself out there, if you're an artist in any way, you put your art online, you're exposing a more vulnerable side of yourself to strangers. And there's a huge chance that you're going to be misunderstood. And you're also publicly failing. My dad, when I was growing up, he always had these different businesses that he would create and come up with because he likes to work for himself. He didn't want to have to work for anyone else. So with that became a lot of creativity and ingenuity and him just figuring out what works best for him. And if he didn't know how to do something, he would learn it and then start a business. And I love that about him. I don't remember what business he started, but I do remember specifically he had a business and he would come home every day and I'd be like, how's work? And he's like, well, I already quit 12 times this week. But then the next day he would go back to work and do it again. And he would come home, well, I quit 13 times, but he would go back and do it again. And to me, he was having a hard time to learn the things that he was learning. It was stuff that he had never done before. It was probably outside of his comfort zone, but day after day, he kept putting himself out there. So to me, I look up to him because even though it was hard, he kept trying new things. And if that didn't work, he tried something different. And it did not fail because he kept going, even though he wanted to quit every single day. And he got so frustrated, he thought about quitting, and he got so frustrated that he almost gave up, but he didn't. That's kind of how I want to live my life. In the past, I've always, if I'm not good at something on day 1, or maybe like day 3 or 4, if I'm being really ambitious, then I just give up. And I don't think that's a way to live or a way to learn, because the only way to grow and to learn is to fail. So sometimes you're going to do that alone. You're not going to meet your own expectations, and sometimes you're going to do that in front of other people. And like I said, if you have a creative outlet to where other people can see what you're doing, you're going to fail publicly. Sometimes what we see our failures are actually lessons. And that's another saying that my dad has. He always says, you never lose, you only learn. I see every failure as such a personal thing. I've never seen it as a lesson. And I've never seen it as an opportunity to grow, because the minute something gets hard, the minute I think I wasn't perfect, then I quit. And if you're like that and you think, I try so hard to just be perfect and I never can, I'm always failing, then maybe you need to look at your life and see what lessons you can gain from that. How are you going to succeed at something you've never done until you repeatedly fail? And at least then you can rule out what you shouldn't do. For those of you who are telling me you want to make videos but you're scared to talk on camera, I really hate to tell you this, but the only way you're going to get better is by actually doing it. A lot of people think that I've just been good at talking on camera, and I was a little yapper when I was a kid, and for some reason my family gave me a little camcorder to carry around our family functions, and I was dissing everybody and their mama with my little country voice on these video recordings. But it did get me comfortable in front of a camera. And then years later, when I was still like petrified of public speaking and talking to people, I really wanted to make videos. So I started just talking to the camera. And a lot of y'all don't see all the videos that I archive on my social media over the last year or two when I've been working on this, but it really is just a work in progress. You have to fail. You have to put yourself out there if you're going to get better. You can't just think about a thing. It's not the same as doing it. You have to do it and you have to put in the reps. Honestly, I will say, like, I have learned more from failure than I have ever learned from success. If I get something right the first time, you think I ever thought about that again? It's the failure that replays in your head that you have to look at and face, or it eats you alive. You have to look at that and say, well, what could I have done differently that would have made it better? I am going to keep going, and I encourage you all to do the same if you have your own goals. This is 2026. Okay, I'm not trying to remind anybody of anything, but It's been 6 years since the pandemic. Okay? So if you haven't started whatever you want to start on because you're scared of failing, then now is the time. Okay? This is a wake-up call. It hit me today, 2026. So many things that I wanted to start 6 years ago have only just started now. And it is better late than never. But that's what I'm telling you. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. I heard someone say that once, and it's true. This is not a drill. Okay. So if there's something that you've been wanting to do, or a person that you've been wanting to become, or, write the bucket list, okay? And check it off. We only have one life. And why do we waste it in fear? And it's not even a founded fear, okay? It's like fear that we create in our minds that we can't do something, or that we need to have everything perfect before we can do something. Like, do not tell me you need the perfect equipment to start a podcast if that's what you want to do, or a YouTube channel, or a TikTok, or whatever. If you have your phone, and if you have your phone, that's all you need. Everyone has a phone, they all have cameras, they all have microphones. So there's no excuse. This is the time, there is only the present and what you choose to do with it. When you start your dream, because I know you're going to do it, because I just reminded you that it's 2026, then just make sure that you're going into it with an open heart, and you're going into it with grace for yourself, because it's not always going to be easy, but nothing worth doing is ever easy. But yeah, this week I just kind of wanted to touch on some stories of failure, and a reminder just to put yourself out there even when it's scary. And you never lose, you only learn. I am very thankful if you tuned in, and thank you for everyone who's been watching and who keeps watching, and for everyone who sends me messages or comments and encourages the pod. Thank you, and we will see you next week. Bye.